Oh, awesome. Welcome, welcome. We are now live. Thank you guys for hanging in there to get to another awesome Sunday, Just Conversation with Deborah. I am here again with a wonderful topic that I think you guys will enjoy. Um, we talked about, before I get into that, before I dive deep into this topic, I always forget to plug my book, and I'm going to do that right now. Give me just a minute. I'm going to bring it up. All right, you should be seeing on your screen now Why God Answers a Sinner's Prayer, Growing in Love to Witness God's Glory. A book written by yours truly, something that actually started working on the book back in 2015, 2016, somewhere around up in there. And I kind of shelved it for a bit of time, waiting for, the moment or the right moment, so to speak, on when to publish the book. And so I did that earlier part of this year, actually back on July 25th, 2024. And it's it just talks about my spiritual journey, answering the question, why God answers a sinner's prayer in a way that you may not think. So just reading a little bit off the cuff, off the front matter, why God answers a sinner's prayer. The author shares her personal spiritual journey and the realization that we're all spiritual beings living a physical experience. The book challenges beliefs about sin and emphasizes the importance of love and growing closer to God and witnessing the beauty of creation. Regardless of any faults or sins of the flesh, the book affirms, in my words, based on my experience, that nothing can separate us from God's love and grace. So I really would appreciate you guys show some support. Go out to Amazon, and I'm going to drop the direct link to the book here in the chat, and make a purchase for $10.99. If and I get it, it's around Christmas time or whatever, and um, if you decide to purchase it and just pass it along, that works just as well. I believe in networking and all that good stuff. So just want to encourage you to purchase the book and drop in on the latest podcast show on Sunday and tell me what you think of the book and all that good stuff. And I would greatly appreciate it. All right, I'm going to grab this link right quick and drop it in the chat. All right, there it is. All right, we're going to stop presenting. Stop the screen share. All right, guys. Oh, so thank you so very much for joining us on the latest podcast tonight. We are going to talk about why are women more connected to God than men? Now, before I dive off into this topic, into this conversation, two podcast shows back, 2 Sundays back, um, we covered the topic why men still do not view women as equal partners. And boy, that was a show. I think we had about over 6,000 views, a lot of conversations in the comments. And I'm going to be honest with you, the men that were chiming off in the comment section, they do not like it. They do not like the idea of women being considered equal partners in any aspect of life. And why is that so? Why is that so? Here in 2024, 2025, knocking at your door, why do men just still struggle, still wrestle with the idea that women can be equal? Now, some of the comments that came in were like, well, when it compares to strength, okay, I get it. We're not built like men, even though you may have women who get off into weightlifting and all that good stuff. But in comparison to a man, there is no comparison. So I think it's fair to say, in my opinion, these are my opinions only. I think it's fair to say that in some aspects, yeah, men do better. They do better than women. But I think the overall argument is just when it comes to doing life in general, why do men not see women as equal? And we talked about, or I shared the great many of contributions that women have made in this life, in this world. I mean, from medicine to science. Well, medicine, science, we're not going to get into that argument about how medicine and science can be different, but in religion and construction and design, just every field industry that you can think about, women have made some major contributions, and we men still struggle. And I'm not saying all men, but some men still struggle with the idea of making women, their woman, an equal partner in the relationship. And why is that so? If I, if I must give my opinion on the matter, I think, you know, for so long, for so long, men have been given that role, or it has been ingrained in them that the men are the leaders. They're the leaders of the world. They're leaders in the household. They're the leaders in their home over their children. In the pulpit, we're going to touch a bit on that tonight about being the leaders, who the leader in the pulpit. Women having a role in the pulpit. That's still a no-no in some religions. And I think the men struggle with, or think that women are trying to take over. And that's one of the reasons I was compelled to give that, to have that topic on the podcast show, because, I was in company of a gentleman, and he was like, yeah, women trying to take over. You got a woman trying to run for the White House. You got, they don't know how to talk to men anymore. They talk down on men and try to belittle them. Pretty much his opinion was women have too much of an opinion. And so I said, okay, this is a topic. This is a conversation that is worthy, that should be brought to the broader audience, right? Because look, it is 2024. Why do we still think that way? Why? And to me, I think it hinders growth. In my opinion, it does. When it comes to being a partner in life, having a partner in life, a partner that can help you get through life, this thing called life. And if you want to belittle that person or lessen that person's role, which I'm saying is the female in this case, to where you're only able to do X, Y, Z, I think it only hurts you. It's not a benefit, because women, we have so much to offer in this life, and it has been proven. It has been proven over and over again with the many, many contributions that have been made in this world. So, with that being said, the topic for tonight is, why are women more connected to God than men? All right, before you get all worked up and going, before we even get started real good on this conversation, it is, even though the topic may be formed in a way of competition, it's not a competition. Look, on the latest podcast show, Just Conversations with Deborah, I try to just have an open dialogue and hear everyone's opinions and thoughts. And if you haven't been living with your head in a hole, I would say from the last 10 years or even more, the world has been changing. It has been evolving. And I look at it as a universal shift. We're going through a universal cycle. And like I said, unless you've been living with your head in the hole over the past 10 to 15 years or even more, I mean, this shift has been going on for a long period of time. And I know you feel it. I know you see it. You got to. You got to. If you are living and breathing on this earth today, you have got to see the changes, the shifts that are happening in just about every aspect of our lives, in every industry, from education to I don't know, everything is being challenged. Education, science, the medical industry, religion. There's been a lot of prominent religious figures that's been on in the spotlight, and not in a good way, necessarily in a good way. So everything is being, our fundamental belief systems are being challenged. And it's for a reason, because nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same in this life. Everything is on a cycle, and we are at a cusp. We're at the period of time where everything is shifting, everything is changing. And I'm going to take a little pause and take a little beat, and I'm going to pivot just a little bit, because I feel compelled to mention this just a little bit. We have talked about it, a bit on the latest podcast show, talking about the shift and the change in the financial system. It's already here. I mean, it is here. And if you're one of those naysayers that is like, oh, I don't believe in Bitcoin. I don't believe in crypto. I don't believe in that. It's not real money. It's funny money. It's, there's been scams here and there. Well, yeah, guess what? Scammers and scams are never going to go anywhere. I don't care how much change or whatever. They're just going to find a new way to scam. But I'm here to tell you that the change is here, and you got to stop ignoring it. You got to stop being one of those naysayers and say to yourself, how do I position myself for this change so I don't get left behind? Start educating yourself on what Bitcoin is. Start educating yourself on what cryptocurrency is. Just start educating yourself in their realm. And I'm not necessarily saying from an investment standpoint, because I'm not here to give you an investment guidance or anything that way. But I don't, I rather you be in the know than not in the know. And because you just don't want to believe that you are living in a day and time where so much change is happening on a monumental scale, and that you just not believing it or choosing not to believe is going to stop it from happening. It is not. It is here. The change is here. So do some research on what Bitcoin is, and it'll take you down the path of how it came to be, the technology that it rests upon. And it's blockchain technology. You're going to see how it's just going to impact and touch just about every aspect of our lives. And I know everybody's is in an uproar. I'm not going to say everybody. I'm just going to say those people who may not be well, enough educated to understand what artificial intelligence is, thinking that being too much in tune into what we may have seen in the movies, and saying, oh no, there's a bad thing, it's a bad thing. Well, you know what? Like I said, change is here. It's not going anywhere, and it's of your best interest to understand what that change is going to be and how it's going to impact you. Because it states, I've read several, articles or resources where artificial intelligence is going to displace about 40 to 50% of the work population. I may be wrong on that exact percentage, but there's going to be a great number of displacement of jobs. So you just think about artificial intelligence fueled by data, big data. It can run scenarios and spit out outcomes so quickly, so quick. So you just think about those jobs that is not, I'm going to say, labor intensive, any data entry type jobs, any job that is built on workflows, business processes that can be done with artificial intelligence. Those are the jobs that's going to be prominent. That's pretty much going to be, at the top of the line when it comes to jobs being displaced. Now, what do you may say, well, Deborah, and I know I'm off the topic. I'm sorry. I promise you I'm gonna get back to it. This is near and dear to me. You may say, Deborah, well, I'm 50, 60 years old. I don't have time to be learning, this new technology that you talk about. I'm looking to retire and enjoy my life. I get that. I do. That's why I can't give you advice, but I can say it would be very beneficial to you to understand the changes that are coming. Understand crypto. I'm missing this word, crypto. I don't want to say crypto. The word that I'm looking for, the technology that is fueling this big, blockchain. Just look at blockchain and understand artificial intelligence, how it may impact you. If you are nearing the age of retirement, what you can do to secure your retirement. Just start doing some research. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. I just remembered that like it was yesterday. Where I came upon an article, and the guy was, the article was just saying, the day you start learning is the day you start dying. That is so true. You don't want to get left behind. All right, I'm off my podium about that, about the changes that are here. They are here. I'm going to switch back to my topic. Why are women more connected to God than men? And so with that being said, just to kick the conversation off, just to kick it off myself, I don't necessarily believe that women are more connected to God than men in the way that you may think or say, well, does God favor women more than men? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because if you've been on my podcast show, you will understand and know that I believe we are all connected. We are part of this one great consciousness. And I use the word God on my podcast show for the ability to relate to those listeners, those who are listening to me, so to speak. But I believe in universal consciousness. I believe in the ultimate source, creator source. I kind of keep my conversation off of here in alignment with that. But ultimately, for those, who are brought up in the church and all the good stuff and follow the words of the Bible, I use the word God for you to be able to follow. I believe in one infinite source, creator source, that is God. And we are all connected to this consciousness. We all have the same access to this consciousness. Now, do we all have the same ability? I'm going to say I'm going to say that all depends on your connectedness to this creator source, right? It all depends on how connected you are to source. And so when I ask the question, why are women more connected to God than men? I think because women are such nurturers, right? We are so, we're driven by emotion. I think we feel more strongly. And once again, men, before you jump on here and start clawing at me, this is my opinion. These are my opinions based on my experience. I am a woman, right? Naturally born so. And I just believe that women, we operate more so off of our emotions more than anything else. That's not saying that we're not capable of being logical. We're both. We make decisions sometimes off our emotions, which is not a bad thing, because in that you're considering not just yourself, the outcome for yourself, you consider the outcome of your decisions and how it may impact other people. I think that is a beautiful thing. So I think because men are more straightforward, taught to be hardcore, stern and assertive. Um, men may find it difficult to let go sometimes and to surrender themselves to a higher power. I think that's my opinion when I look at it. Why are women more connected? Because we surrender. We're taught traditionally to be submissive, to to men, and religion teaches, or what I have experienced in my religious upbringing has taught, that God is a man. But once again, before you come at me, I think creator source, I think God is genderless, has no gender. Think about it. Created one man, created just about everything under the sun. The cats, the dogs, the whales, the trees, the flowers, the bees. I think creator source is, like I said, this huge consciousness that has the ability to create on top of creation, and to narrow the creator source down to a gender. I think that's limiting. That is limiting. And God cannot be limited, and that which he has created is limitless as well. So I'm going to take a pause. Because I can, if you know me, I can just take off real quick on any topic. I'm going to get some of these comments. Don't want to overlook anyone. Lucy Cruz, welcome. Demi, how do you go live? I don't give tutorials on YouTube, but you may want to check out a product called StreamYard. Raji, hi Raji. How are you? Haven't seen you in such a long time. Welcome. Hi, Irvin. Hey, Wanda. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you so much. W7 Better. I don't, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, it doesn't appear to be a name, but welcome to the show. Could you give a shout out to my friend Wills? I have no idea who I have no idea. Sorry, I don't do shout outs on here. Bro is okay. I don't know who you are, but we gonna ban you because you're not being nice. And we don't do that on here. All righty. You're not being nice. All right. And could you give it? Okay. We don't do shout outs, but thank you guys for joining the show. Thank you once again. If you just joined the latest podcast show, I am Deborah. Just Conversations with Deborah. I am here every Sunday. Decision I made last Sunday to start going live every Sunday. Welcome to the show. Why are women more connected to God than men? And that is not a matter of capability, availability. I think it's more so in how we as women express ourselves. We don't mind surrendering. And so I think that may in my opinion, would make lead us to have more of a relationship, an unfolding, nurturing relationship. All right, I'm going to put up question number one. In what ways do cultural and societal roles influence perceptions of spirituality and connection to the divine for different genders? Well, kind of touched on that a little bit. If you were raised, in an organized religion, be it, regardless of what it is, you cross the board, you are taught, you have seen that men are typically the overseers of the church. They are the preachers. They are the ones in the pulpit every Sunday. If it's Bible study on Wednesday, they're usually the ones, whether it's the main pastor, assistant pastor, or even the counselors in the church, they are typically men. And if you were raised and grown up to that, and then you're programmed in a sense to think that only men should lead the church because you're already taught men are supposed to be over their households, then you're going to automatically think that, okay, women have a lesser role, not just in the church, but also in life in general. And they will have you to believe that only man has that direct connection to God. That even begins with, Jesus Christ himself. A male, as is specified in the Bible. Jesus Christ was a male. And so and then he had, all this awesome work, this great, awesome connection with God, with the creator. And women were not, you may have seen prominent figures like, the Virgin Mary, who gave birth to Jesus as the Bible describes, but it was just more so in the role of giving birth to the king, the male king Jesus, right? And so that begins the programming. Now, I'm not on here to shun organized religion at all. I was brought up in it. I ate it. I slept it. I mean, you name it. Every Sunday we were in church. Every Wednesday, if there was revival, Sunday through Sunday, we were in church. I get it. I get it. It's just that if you have been on my podcast show, I explain how spiritual evolution is a thing. It happens. I am still on my spiritual journey, but I started evolving from the religious background, the tradition of religion that was ingrained in me from a kid. And you may ask, okay, what happened? What started you on your journey? Is different for different people. And based on your experience, I think everyone has a specific time and place to where you may be inclined or impelled to think a little bit deeper, a little bit more about your relationship with God. It could be from loss, having to lose so many loved ones in your life, and I know that's what happened to me, where you just start asking questions like, what is the point of it all? This thing called existence, this thing called life. What is the point of it all? To go through life, and you have your loved ones, and you see them get stricken with sickness and disease, and you see how the sickness and disease just devours them and take them out, and then just death on top of death. And anyone who has lost anyone, family member, friend, or whatever, we know how great of a pain that is to bear, to live through, and to get through. And sometimes it takes grief counseling, and praying, and what, counsel, whatever, to try to heal and move beyond that, and to regain some sense of life for yourself. So when you find yourself at a crossroad where traditional religion is not getting it, going to church and say, Pastor, lay your hands on me, I'm grieving, I can't seem to get over it or get past it. For me, just having someone pray for me and pat me on the back, it's going to be okay, it's going to be all right. Something just snapped at me. It was like, and it was almost like anger. Why? What is the point? What is the point in all of this? I need answers. And I know if you were like me, raised to say, ask God no questions, don't question God. I think the creator source wants you to, because once again, knowledge would to have lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. And I know it's a scripture in there somewhere. I don't have it, the direct scripture in mind, but it says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So how, if my people perish for lack of knowledge, then why is it so terrible for me to ask my creator questions? See, that doesn't make sense to me. And that's another reason you need to start asking questions and stop just digesting everything that, I don't know, a prominent figure, someone that you look up, so that's, that's a spiritual leader, and just taking a word for it. You have to go within. I believe that one whole heart, you have to go within and get these answers. And I asked that question in my moment of dire need. What is the point of all this? And what came to me was, elevate your mind from this place. And that started my spiritual journey. And it opened up a different world for me. How I view the world, how I view people, how I view just about everything. It just opens your mind to a different view of life and to how to live life differently. So that's how it started for me. And I do not regret my spiritual journey. And like I said, it is not a place of arrival, but it's a continuation, a constant evolution of growth and development. Growth and development should exist in every aspect of your life, not just your mental growth and development, but your spirit, man. You should be growing and developing. If you look at yourself spiritually and you're the same place where you were 10 to 15 years ago, then you haven't evolved. You haven't started asking questions. You haven't dove deep enough. And it doesn't have to start with pain like mine did. It could just, one morning you just wake up, you have a question, a spark of divinity. That's what we are. We're part of consciousness, this greater consciousness. And it's there to answer questions that you may have. So going back to question number one, in what ways do cultural and societal roles influence perception of spirituality? That because we are taught traditionally so in religious doctrination that the men are the leaders, they are the preachers, so women are programmed to look up to the men and to be the source of their medium to their spiritual connector. That's how society has influenced women to think that they can't have the same connection to source, that they can't go to God on their own and pray on their own behalf, and to think that they have a lesser role. But they don't. We don't. We are all equal. We are all part of the same consciousness. And when we were created, we were given that spark of divinity. We all have it. Now, how you access it is up to you, but it's all part of your spiritual evolution, your spiritual journey. All right. I think I done beat question number one up enough. So I'm going to jump and see if I got any comments in here. Hi, Magic. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, thanks, Connie. Thanks, cousin. Hosea 4 and 6. I'm going to read that. I'm going to pull that up. Hi. Let's see. I do want to read it. I don't, I quote the scriptures for the purpose of reference on here, but I do like to quote them accurately if I could. Okay. It reads it a little bit differently. This is Bible Hub. Like I said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. All right. So just taking that piece, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected my knowledge. And so that is going back to where I kind of pivoted off the conversation, but it's just going back to speaking about the change that is happening so rapidly and on a huge scale in the world today. It's not just happening in the United States, it's happening everywhere. Every institution that we have been brought up in is being challenged, and it's not being challenged for the sake of people just want to destroy and tear down. It's universal. Everything has a cycle in life. Just like you were born into this world. I'm talking flesh at this point now, because I know you may say, well, Deborah, you said we're eternal soul, we don't die, we're just energy. That is true. I'm talking about this flesh suit that we are born into. This flesh suit that is used for us to maintain life on this earth. Okay? So don't chew me up. I remember what I tell you on this podcast show. So just as a man is born into this world, so shall he also die and be returned to the creator source. So I said that to say that it is only of our benefit to not reject change. I know people as human, we hate change, we loathe it. I know it from experience working in a technology company and these big softwares that they roll out or change, and been a part of those teams that roll it out. And you have to meet with the customers, the end users who actually use the software to do their jobs. Using an insurance program as an example, they have to go in and create these claims for people, ask these questions, have to come to a claim determination. Um, all that good stuff. That is software. That is software development. And to have someone to come in and say, "Look, you got to learn this whole new software that we're going to roll out. That's going to only be benefit not only for the company but for you as well." And you're thinking, "I've been doing this I've been using this old software for the past 20, 30 years. I dare you come and just replace it with something new." I get it. We hate. We're prone to not like change. Change can be difficult, and it's only more difficult when you reject it versus having an open mind to receive it. So in using that example, in order to understanding that just about every institutional organization that we were brought up under, raised up under, is being challenged, not for the challenge sake, or to be destructive, but it's universal. Everything has its time and place. And those traditional institutions that we've been brought up in, the time is up. It is time to bring in something new. And what is being used to usher in these new organizations and institutions? Artificial intelligence. And like I was saying, whatever your position is on artificial intelligence, it is not going anywhere. It is here and it is growing super fast. And what I think, from my own opinion, what is so important to get a lead on, to start understanding, is how it's going to impact your, the financial institution, the very money that you use every day. It's important that you learn that. Like I said, I can't give you any advice on where, but I can kind of give you a little nugget on where to start. Look up blockchain technology, understand artificial intelligence and the undergird, the foundations of it. It'll help you. Sorry, but I had to pivot and bring it back home full circle from Connie giving me that scripture to kind of give me more, give you guys more context. And I think I just want to pause and say this. For those who do tune into the show, you may tune in for a little bit and be like, "Oh, she's talking about religion. She's up there preaching. Oh, she's churchy. I don't want to hear that. I just been to church today." No, that's not what I do here. And I'm sorry if I have given you that impression. My undertone may be a little bit religious, but I am not that. I'm not that. I've shared that I've evolved in my connection, my relationship with Creator Source, with God, is more from a spiritual standpoint. And you may say, "Well, Deborah, what does that mean? What does that mean for you to be more spiritual and not so religious?" It means that I seek to have my own personal relationship, natural personal relationship with the Creator Source, without having a middle person, a middleman, to dictate to me what my relationship should look like with God, what my relationship should be with God. There's nothing in between us. There's no filtering. I don't have to say, "Well, preacher, what do you think?" I don't have to, because I try to go within. And going within, I'm in direct communication and conversation with the Creator. And I'm not going to get it from him. It's going to be unadulterated. It's going to be untainted. It's going to be cut raw. And that is what I prefer. That is what I have evolved to receive. Direct line of communication. Because to me, in my opinion, I think people use religion as a crutch. I'm going to say it again. I believe people use religion as a crutch. Now, if you have not evolved enough to where you could say, "Well, I'm with you, Deborah. I'm done with going to church. I'm done with needing a pastor to talk me through things," and start seeking to create on my own and believing in myself. You got to be solid and strong within yourself. And you have to, and you have to understand. You have to be in a place of understanding that you are more capable or able of reaching and connecting with the Creator Source without relying on someone. And you may say, "Well, Deborah, what do you mean people use religion as a crutch?" Because I have been in company or in aware of, without someone saying, "If you don't do right, do this. If you don't do that, you're going to meet hell, fire, and damnation when you die." If you don't pay your tithes and offering, you're going to be hell, fire, and damnation when you die. If you don't treat your fellow brother or sister right, you're going to meet hell, fire, and damnation when you die. If you don't live on the straight and narrow, you're going to meet hell, fire, and damnation when you die. That is how I was brought up and no longer believe. And so when I say some people use religion as a crutch, as soon as they step outside of church, they've gone to church on Sunday, whatever, they are back to their usual selves. Or let's just say, they are in every reflection living a straight and narrow life. They treat people right. They're not gossiping about people. They're not tearing people down. They're not being evil or just trying to, destroy other people's lives. There really are, people who are genuine and express and show love in this world. There are those people, but let's say they had an addiction or whatever. They had an addiction and getting to the lowest of the low in their addiction. They ran to the church and they were able to kick their addiction, so to speak. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I do. But something happened along the way that took them out of church. And guess what was there to meet them on the other end? Their addiction. So I say, did you truly kick the addiction? Or were you so afraid that if you lived in it, continue to live in it, when you die, you're going to meet hell, fire, and damnation? So that's what I mean. When people, and just going to circle back on another podcast show that I did, I said good and evil exist in all of us. It just depends on which one you are exercising, which one you are living in. So is the church helping you to hide from yourself? Because all of it is you now. Don't get me wrong. All of it exists within you. Is the church helping you to hide from yourself versus truly going within and dealing with that thing, the turmoil or whatever may have caused you to want to live more on the negative versus the good? Because everything and whatever we are, whoever we express ourselves to be, is based on the experiences that we have had in our life. Be it our experiences or something that we can control, or those experiences that have been imposed upon us. Whether someone has mistreated you, abused you, molested you, whatever the case may be, all of our experiences as a whole make us up to who we are. I don't get a pass on that. But are you using religion to hide from yourself? Those things that are less pleasant about you? Or do you face yourself? You go within and say, okay, this I know about me and I don't like it. This I know about me and I don't like it. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I don't like the way it makes others feel when I act out, when I pose those less desirable behaviors onto other people. Or do you go to church to hide from that versus dealing with it? To me, I believe the Creator Source wants us to embrace everything it is about us. And if there's anything that we look to change within ourselves, it is upon us to change it. Not the pastor laying his hands on you in the name of Jesus. No. I believe, my personal opinion, time well spent is spent with yourself. Going within and dealing with those less desirable things that make you you. We all have them. And that's what I mean about allowing church to be a crutch. Now, if that is not you, if you don't fall in that category, then great. I'm just giving a different aspect, something that you may not even hear in church, something you may not even hear from, mom, dad, or whoever. It's about having knowledge, and knowledge starts with you, understanding who you are as an individual. All right, I'm going to get off that pedestal. But thanks for sharing that scripture. I appreciate that. B. Walter, they do especially the week. So I didn't get an answer response from B. Walter. Like I said, I'm not knocking. If you're not evolved enough to where you can exist, have a relationship with God outside of falling into someone's church, that's you. That's your prerogative. I get it. I'm not saying no, don't do that. I'm just saying I have evolved from that place. I have. I'm going to get to question number 2, but back to what I was saying. No, this is not a religious podcast at all. This is more spiritual than anything, and just trying to help someone else along the way who may have started on their spiritual journey. How do historical and religious narratives shape our understanding of gender and spirituality? Can these narratives evolve over time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Catholicism is one of the oldest religions there is out there. And when I was doing some research, they're still one of the religions that do not believe in women pastors. They they don't believe in women pastors. And so being brought up in that, I mean, you're already shaped to believe that. Give me just a minute of pause. Give me just a minute. All right. Go for it. All right, give me just a minute. I think I got a little glare. All right, got a little glare going on the camera. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yes, Catholicism is one of the oldest religions out there. They today, even today, do not believe in women pastors. And I'm not saying that to promote women being in pastoral positions or whatever. That's not what this topic is about, so to speak. But it just answering the question: how do historical and religious narratives shape our understanding of gender and spirituality? And so when you have male figures in those roles in just about every religious tradition there is, and then you're going to automatically think that they have this special access or this special relationship with God, and that's just not the case. We all have the same access to God. And when people say God favored me, that's another podcast show. God has no favorites, in my opinion. You don't. It's just whatever time you spend with God and how you open yourself up to creation and allow your mind and your spirit to be fed. And once you do that, open your heart and your mind into because I don't believe in putting the creator in a box. I don't. And so when people say, well, do you believe that you in the world of infinite possibilities, anything is possible? And so to me, religion is limiting, but if that's where you are, that's where you are. Can these narratives evolve over time? Absolutely, certainly they have. You may have gone to some churches where you see women preaching. They're open, their things are changing. They are changing. And just being aware of, like I said, the shift of how things are changing in society all in general. When we talk about why men still do not see women as equals in the partnership, well, that's changing too. That is changing, absolutely. And so because I think, like I said, everything is cyclical. Everything has to go through its change, has to go through its process, and it is best to not reject the change, but open your mind enough to want to at least understand it. And if it's not for you, at least put yourself in a position to where you don't get left behind. Because like I said, at the scale of change that is happening around us, you can't stop it. You not believing in it and not embracing it is not going to change it. You're going to wake up one day and those traditional ATMs you used to use your debit card, we're going to be replaced with something. You're going to be like, when did this happen? When did this take place? Guess what has been happening for the past 10, 15 years or even longer? The technology is older. I'm not going to get back on that pedestal. I'm sorry. That's a different podcast show, and I doubt I even do one on it. I'm just going to leave you with the nugget that I gave you. Understand what crypto technology is, blockchain, and that'll take you somewhere. All right, question number 3. Do you think personal experiences and emotions? Yes, I do. What did I say? Women are more emotional and men are more logical, but I think we both have, exercise to some degree, both our emotions and our logic, but women have tend to be more emotional. And we do apply both in decision making and all that good stuff. But being more emotional than men, we're more liable to open up to the creative source and receive what the creative source is giving us, and not only receive it, but act on it. Act on it. How many women, for those who are still in the traditional church setting, how many do you see? Do you see more of the men? Or if you can answer the question for me in the comment section, I appreciate it. Do you see more of the men crying out to God, worshiping God, laying on hands, praying with others, standing in the gap for others, the ones that are up on the altar, just praying and believing before God? Do you see more women doing that? Or do you see more men doing it? Let me know in the comment section. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comment section. All right, let me finish the question because I got a little hype on that. Do you think personal experience and emotions play a role in how individuals connect with God or a higher power? How might this differ between men and women? Just like I just asked, if you're still in a traditional church setting, who do you see more on the altar? Who do you see more in worship and praise and just crying out to God and want to, helping the others, standing in the gap? Do you see more women doing that, or do you see more men? Now, there's no right or wrong answer in this, because, like I say, in my opinion, I think it's because women are more emotional. We are taught to acquiesce. We are taught to to be humble and to surrender. We are, and I think that has expressed itself in so many ways and so many roles in our lives. But things are changing. The wheels are changing. All right, let me see if I got some comments and answer on that. If not, that's fine too. Wonder Show, I said, tell the truth, knowledge is power. Absolutely. Gonna put you on display there, cousin. I appreciate your comment. Knowledge is power. But you know what, cuz beyond knowledge being power, it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing to be in the know. You may not be able to be in the know just about everything that makes up creation, make the world turn. You may not, but those things that are impactful to your life, it is so beautiful to be able to be in the know rather than to rely on someone else's knowledge, especially with those things that can be impactful to you. And not to lead, to follow blindly. I just don't believe in that. I don't believe in following blindly. Have at least some knowledge if it's going to impact your life in a great way. And as religion teaches, especially when it comes to, if you believe your soul resting place is either going to be in heaven or in a place of fire and hell damnation, don't you think it's even more important for you to have your own knowledge when it comes to creation, when it comes to creator source, when it comes to God, versus just solely relying on what the pastor say? I do. I do. All right. We're going to move on to question number 4. What impact does religious participation have on one's perceived connection to God? And why might women statistically engage more in religious activities than men? Well, because like I was saying, we're taught to acquiesce. We're taught to be submissive. We're taught that God is a man, so be humble, be submissive, surrender. And if the man is man and God is man of the same gender, to me, I could be wrong. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot me. They may think themselves to be on a higher level than women when it comes to God. Because after all, their religion has taught you that God is a man and man is a man. And so, and you're a woman, you come out so in that sense, you may already think on a conscious level that you're closer to God than the woman. That, to me, that is far from the truth. That is far from the truth. So if you eventually evolve and think as I do, that the creator God is genderless, is not a male nor a female, then you will see and to understand that we all have equal access, equal opportunity when it comes to the creator. There's no favoritism. There's no, I can get to him quicker than you can. And if you don't pay your tithes and offering, then God is not going to hear you. Wouldn't believe I've heard it all in my religious upbringing. I heard it all. But it is a beautiful thing. And I am sitting here before you on this podcast show that what I am telling you, having that organic relationship with the creator source is a much richer experience, y'all. It is so much freedom in that. It is so much freedom in that. And you wouldn't believe the absurd things that have been told to me because I now believe this way. I'm living this authentic relationship with the creator. And I've been, well, Deborah, you know better. You was brought up better than that. I'm not, there's a God and you don't go to church and you ought to be ashamed of yourself and you were taught better than that. But you're not hearing me. You're listening to me, but you're not hearing me. Not one time did I say that I do not believe in God. Not one time did I say that I don't believe in a higher power. I just say my relationship is different. than how I was brought up. I've said I have evolved from that way of thinking. And in my evolving, my relationship with the Creator is more organic. It's more nurturing. It's more real for me. For me. And so if you start on your spiritual journey, you start hearing, people, say things like that, don't let it discourage you. Don't keep going. Keep to me, that means you definitely on the right path. Because I've never been the one to just follow blindly anyway. I mean, looking back, I understand why I am where I am in my relationship with the Creator. But with that being said, I do want to add a little tidbit of more information um, about just this, what it means to be a spiritual being, to have this spiritual relationship. And it all starts with self-awareness, right? Knowing who you are, having a better understanding who the creator source is only then, to me, only then, if you go within, can you better understand um, you know that the creator exists in you. There's no separating yourself from the creator source. Like I said, it's a one-on-one relationship. You can hear directly if you just quiet your mind enough. You ever hear when people say, if I would just listen to my first mind, that's your connection to the creator. Just listening to your first thought. That is that sound, soft-spoken thought or voice in your head is the creator connecting to you and leading and guiding you and helping you to make a decision on whatever it is in your life you need help with. Then you get that loud voice. That's that ego of yours. And that's unfortunately, that's the one we tend to lean towards more often. Then we end up saying, oh, if I only would have listened to my first mind. As an example. All right. I'm going to go on to question number 5. And before I do that, let's see if we got some more thoughts in the comments. All right, we got all of them. All right, question number 5. How can we ensure that discussions about spirituality and gender remain inclusive and respectful of diverse perspectives and experiences? Well, I will hope to say that I've handled this podcast show with that in mind by saying I'm not speaking against anyone who still traditionally attend the church, still have those traditional religious beliefs. I don't, because like I said, even though spiritual evolution is for everyone, it's personal and it's specific when it's your turn to evolve. I think when universal source picks you on the shoulder, or as a sparkle of light goes off and you start to get intrigued and start asking questions, I think that is your point in time to start seeking answers to your questions. Don't turn it off. Don't try to ignore it and be because the Bible says, or I've been that's contrary to what I've been taught. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. I mean, because I did. It was a lot of back and forth. It was like a war within myself. Anybody that know me and know my grandmother, being raised under her roof, it was ruthless. And so to be where I am today, there had to be a war going on, and where I landed, it had to be from a profound place. It had to be for a creative source for me to think the way that I think today. And so this podcast show, and prayerfully you do not take it that way, is not to bash you if you still go to church. If that's where you are, that's what you need, that's where you should be. It's not for me to bash anyone who still, seek the advice of a middle person like the pastor or spiritual advisor or anyone like that. If that's where you are, that's where you need to be until it's your time to start evolving spiritually. All I'm saying is when the knock is at your door, do not ignore it. Do not ignore it. Not just from a spiritual standpoint, but all the changes, all the evolution that is taking place around you. Some people say it's a beautiful time to be alive and they said it because we're going to witness so much massive change. And in the beginning, maybe a little rigid, maybe a little rough, because with any change, it can be some churn, and it may not feel so good because you're not used to it. It's different. But try to have an open mind and embrace it. So, like I said, even changes are going on in the physical realm, and eventually change is going to start churning on you in the spiritual realm. And I'm saying just having an open mind for that, and having an open mind, you're going to be open to diverse perspectives. You're going to see that everyone has a different worldview. Everyone does. But at the end of the day, may your actions be those that do not cause any hurt, harm, or danger to anyone, but an expression of love, for yourself, for your fellow man, and to just to put it. So like I said, there's so much toxic also with this change. There's a lot of negativity, a lot of toxicity, and not to let all that chaos happen around you and not necessarily in you on the inside. Love is possible. It is, even in when there seems to be so much darkness in the world. Love is power. We talk about knowledge is power. Love is power, but it starts with loving yourself first. Loving yourself first. And I promise you, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to do so. So why are women more connected to God than men? If you got an answer to that question and you would like to share in the comments, please do so, because hopefully in going over this topic and sharing some of the knowledge and some of my experiences and my opinions on the matter, maybe you have an answer. Maybe you have an answer, and I would love to hear from you, hear your viewpoint, because as I stated, I think women are more I think women are more connected to God, and I think that because they're more open, they're more emotionally driven with logic, but they're more emotionally driven than men. And I did ask another question. I don't see where anyone has answered it. In church, who do you see pray out to God more, the men or the women? Who do you see worshiping God more, the men or the women? But I think if you answer that question, you don't have to drop it on the podcast comments. But I think if you answer that question, you already answered the question for the topic. Why are women more connected to God than men? I think you're going to find your own answer there. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up all our questions for tonight. And once again, I do have the link is pretty long, but if you're in the comment section, you should be able to copy and paste the link here to the Amazon book, to my book that is on Amazon. And I did share it. I'm going to share it one more time for you guys. And then I'm going to call it a night. It has been wonderful. All right. There we go. For 1099, why God answers a sinner's prayer. Growing in love to witness God's glory. And I think you'll find it very interesting reading the book and getting an answer to that question in my own way. Answering that question in my own way. All right. We're going to stop sharing. And thank you guys so much for joining the Ladies Podcast Show. I am here every Sunday, just conversations with Deborah. And we still have our Monday and Tuesday time slots. Unfortunately, I have not had an opportunity, or I have not heard from the other ladies, Velma or Felisa, to understand when they will be back live on their shows. So in the meantime, so there won't be any confusion, we do not have those mentioned up here as we typically do, but just going to share every Sunday. I am here just conversations with Deborah. We are open to guests. We're also open to any suggestions that you may have on any topics that you may want to share. With that being said, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday, and I will see you back here next Sunday with another intriguing topic to peel back the layers on the Latest Podcast Show. I'm your host, Deborah Walter. Thank you.